ho ho ho! Since we last spoke, the cast of Stranger Things are now embroiled in lawsuits and controversy right before the final season is about to release. The BBC could be in big trouble after documents leaked alleging that they doctored footage of Trump, making it appear that he encouraged the January 6 riots. An insane Project X-style party had to be shut down after thousands of people showed up. Scientists are now worried after capturing rats hunt in ways never seen before. And New York has just witnessed one of the biggest political upsets in its history. All of that and so much more. We've got 85,000 subs left to hit before the end of the year, so subscribe. And let's stop the yapping and let's go crackin'! Okay guys, I don't think there's any other way to put it, but we have just witnessed history yet again. America now has their first ever Muslim Indian mayor, Zohran Mamdani.
ZOLTAN! ZOLTAN!
And you guys need to understand the significance of what just happened, because many say this is the biggest political upset in the city's history. Now, just to note, it wasn't just New York. There were votes in Virginia, New Jersey, California, and they were all actually big wins for the Democrats. But we need to focus on New York because it's pretty wild. Mamdani is only 34 years old, meaning he is the youngest mayor since 1892. That's 133 years. He essentially didn't exist politically a year ago, which is so rare to have such a big win like this. And now he is the leader of and I want to stress this, the wealthiest city, not just in America, the world. 34 years old. That's crazy. And to top it all off, he is almost the exact opposite politically as the president, Donald Trump. He's a democratic socialist, a former rapper, was born in Uganda. He doesn't think there should be billionaires. He wants to raise taxes on the top 1% richest in New York by about 2%. He wants to freeze rent prices. He wants to create publicly funded grocery stores for low-income families. He wishes to make buses free. And also, and Trump will hate this one specifically, he wants to stop cooperation with ICE deportation raids, which Trump has already said that he'll have him arrested for.
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation.
More than 735,000 New Yorkers cast early ballots ahead of the election, marking the highest early in-person turnout ever for a non-presidential election in New York. And guess what? Not only did Mamdani win the most votes for a candidate in NYC primary history, but also in the final days of voting over the weekend, younger voters actually outnumbered older voters. And I personally feel like that is so significant because it really shows how young people in the country are feeling right now. The main thing that Mamdani, but also the other winners, campaigned on is the affordability crisis. Prices being lowered. That is the key takeaway from all of this, beyond what their identity is and who they are or what party they belong to. This really shows that the biggest issue for young people is the affordability crisis, especially in metropolitan cities. It's crushing. So having someone like Mamdani, who is young himself and also coming out with radical ideas for change, it's clearly not just getting the younger vote, but the general vote as well. But, and this has to be noted, not everyone believes that these radical ideas for change will work. Because while some see Mamdani as a visionary, the right see him as a lunatic communist that is going to destroy the city. In fact, nearly 1 million New Yorkers before the election indicated that they would flee the city if he is elected. I guess now we can see if they were actually telling the truth. There's also major criticisms that the millionaires and the billionaires who greatly contribute to New York's economy will leave the city because he's increasing taxes on them.
They'll change where they earn their income. They'll change how they earn their income. They'll change how much they earn, when they receive the income. They'll change all of those things to minimize taxes.
The rich people are going to leave, and other people are going to leave. You're going to end up with lots of people that don't produce, and then that's the spiral. That's the end.
Which, if they do leave, would only further worsen the problem. And there's also a lot of people worried about a rise in anti-Semitism if he is in power, because he has past support for anti-Israel campaigns, and he's even put out a pledge to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu as a war criminal if he ever steps foot in New York City. And keep in mind why that is such a big issue is because New York City has the highest concentration of Jews outside of Israel. Donald Trump has also been a major critic of Mamdani leading to the elections and after.
But he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it. I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist. I mean, he's a communist and going to be mayor of New York.
Well, he said he's going to fight ICE.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
He said that New York has zero chance of success now, and then once it was confirmed that he won, Trump posted simply saying, "And so it begins." Oh, and another person who people were really surprised to see talking shit about Mamdani is none other than Mr. Beast, because he doesn't usually get involved in politics, but apparently in this live stream, because this tweet has gone viral now, millions of views, people were saying that he got a little bit mad on the Zohran live stream. Apparently he said, bro, he's nothing special, every US politician speaks like that, and NYC is cooked. Now, this was up for like 12 hours, and then Mr. Beast himself finally responded to it, saying, why is it that every day now I wake up to a new fake tweet of something I never said? So, if you saw that, or if you do see that, just know, bro didn't say this. Back to the video. So, I think the bottom line is, big changes are coming for New York City, one way or another, good or bad, and also expect a lot of clashes between Mamdani and Trump to come. But, ultimately, what do you guys think? Is this a good thing for New York? Or bad? Let me know in the comments. Moving on. Okay, I don't think anyone really expected this next one. A lot of people are now threatening to boycott the final season of Stranger Things and even cancel the actors. And the reason this is significant is because the final season of the series, which has been building for 9 years now, will finally start to release this month. We thought it would never arrive. And if they can pull off season 5 with no dramas, it will probably go down in history as one of the most popular shows of a generation. But that if is now growing by the day because things are starting to go wrong. Firstly, this week it was revealed that Millie Bobby Brown, who plays 11, filed a complaint of harassment of all things against her co-star David Harbour, who plays Sheriff Jim Hopper. Now, this is via an exclusive report from Daily Fail, who said that an insider revealed just before they started filming the final season, Millie filed pages and pages of accusations against Harbour. Damn, pages and pages, alleging that he harassed and even bullied her. Where's this coming from? And according to this insider, while the final season was being shot, she reportedly had to have a representative on set with her. And even an investigation followed, which went on for months. And I think we're kind of all shocked to hear that because they're supposed to have not just a super close relationship on screen, but just a few years ago in 2021, David Harbour, he said that he feels protective over Millie Bobby Brown and that he has like a fatherly affection towards her and that they've always had a special relationship. And now bro's allegedly bullying and harassing her on set? But that's not where the sheriff's problems end, because David Harbour is also being accused of cheating on his ex-wife, who he recently divorced. David allegedly had affairs with multiple women throughout the years of his marriage to singer Lily Allen, and a lot of fans are speculating that the lyrics in her album confirm these allegations because, you know, the lyrics allude to a lot of these things being true. So, it's not looking too good for the show, and one of their main characters is being accused of not just harassment against co-stars, but also infidelity. But just to add to Netflix's problems, Noah Schnapp, who, as you know, plays the important character Will Byers, he has received so much criticism over the past year that he was forced to deactivate his TikTok account. And the reason for this being, in January 2024, a video emerged of him with his friends posing with stickers saying Zionism is sexy. Now, he responded to the backlash that he got after this video with an apology, saying that his beliefs have been misconstrued and that he only wants peace and safety for all innocent people in and around Gaza. However, almost 2 years later, people have not forgiven nor forgotten, and they said that they won't watch the final season of Stranger Things because of him.
I just saw a Stranger Things ad. I guess Netflix is trying to hype up the new season, but I will not be watching a second of it because I remember how Noah Schnapp came out publicly as a Zionist.
In fact, some are going as far as to say the whole Stranger Things show is pro-Israel because of another cast member, Brett Gelman, who plays Murray, has been very vocal in his support for Israel and even defended Noah Schnapp, saying that he did nothing wrong and that he agrees Zionism is sexy. And then obviously Netflix and Stranger Things, they kept those actors on instead of firing them like what people wanted it to happen, so that's just pissed more people off. Point is, we've got a lot of things on our hands with Stranger Things right now. But I mean, the big question remains, will this anger, which we see a lot of nowadays, will this actually affect the commercial success of the show? It's very, very popular. So I do wonder. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But I think the bottom line of it is I don't know how many more public controversies they can afford before it really does start to take a toll. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Will you be watching it? Will you not be watching it? Moving on. Also, since we last spoke, it's not just Stranger Things that could be in trouble, it's also the BBC. Shocking new leaked documents alleged that the BBC deliberately misled viewers by doctoring footage of Trump making him appear to encourage the January 6 riots by showing the president telling supporters he was going to walk to the Capitol with them to fight like hell, when in fact he said that he would walk with them to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
The documents claim that they deliberately excluded that section. In fact, the version which actually aired comprises of two separate sections of his speech nearly an hour apart, edited together. But if that isn't crazy enough, it doesn't end there, because the internal whistleblower memo, which was seen by The Telegraph, also claims 9 more occasions where the BBC displayed anti-Trump bias during the election, as well as failing to report objectively on a range of other issues too. Now, why this is so significant is because the BBC is not only, by a large margin, the most visited news provider globally, but also, according to many surveys, one of the most trusted too. However, despite this, or maybe because of this, Michael Prescott, the man behind this leaked memo, and also the BBC's former advisor for their editorial guidelines and standards committee, he claimed that senior executives at the company, as well as the BBC's chairman, they ignored and dismissed a string of serious complaints raised by the corporation's own standards watchdog. He also said that he was moved to act out and make this public out of despair at inaction by the BBC executives when issues come to light. Now, the BBC have responded, but, slightly. They said, well, we don't comment on leaked documents. When the BBC receives feedback, it takes it seriously and considers it carefully. So, for some of you, I'm sure this won't come as any shock, but the nuance is, and I guess the point that needs to be stressed, unlike many news providers which you might be familiar with, the BBC here in the UK, they are actually publicly funded. And many argue that one of the biggest justifications for the public paying for the BBC to do the work that it does is that it reports on things impartially and accurately. So for these allegations to be coming out from, I would argue credible sources, it really does need to be taken seriously. But of course, what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but for now, moving on. Also, since we last spoke, are house parties making a comeback? Because what you are seeing is an insane Halloween party that got so out of hand that it had to be shut down by police. Now, this happened in Woodland Hills, LA, and according to Royal News, who actually captured this footage, credit to them, the host originally promoted this party online, selling tickets in advance for $35 each. So if you buy it online, $35, but if you show up at the house, you will be charged up to $150 at the door. Now, $150, just you wait till you hear how many people showed up. Because similar to the real Project X, too many people showed up, man. Oh my gosh. Dozens of 911 calls started flooding in, reporting injuries from stampedes. At a house party, stampedes, a massive fight broke out. People started spilling out into the streets and just completely filled them. And the LAPD's Air Support Unit estimated that 3,000 people were in that neighborhood alone. 3K in one house. Holy crap. And here's the hilarious part. You think that most people would condemn this kind of behavior, right? There were fights, there was underage drinking, there was rubbish laid out everywhere. But no. 2025 has been such a rough year that people saw this and they were like, you know what? I am proud as hell of these kids. Comments were saying stuff like the earth was healing because the kids were partying again and that there was still hope for the next generation after all. So I have to ask the question, are house parties making a comeback? Because if so, like NewsBaby said in my TikTok comments, next party is at mine. Alex, you're not invited. Moving on! Also, since we last spoke, are rats evolving? What has it been, a couple days since we last spoke? And now rats are evolving? Now, what you are looking at is the first ever footage captured of a rat actively hunting bats. And beyond how just insane this is, because they're catching them out of freaking mid-air, it's also kind of worrying. The authors of this study said that this is a type of rat behavior that has never been previously documented scientifically before, so it's a first. But also they're kind of worried about how these German rats, I mean, I don't know why that makes it crazier, but these German rats are hunting. They're not only going to where the bats are, so getting them at their own crib, but they're also snatching them out of freaking mid-air. Scientists have documented 13 confirmed kills and 30 predation attempts. So about every 2 times they try, they get 1 kill. That's a freaking insane record. But I think the thing that is worrying scientists is the potential pathogen exchange between 2 major wildlife reservoirs that carry diseases. Bats, they carry a bunch of diseases, and so do rats. And now they start, mingling. Who knows what could happen? And I don't want to hear for a second that Germany finna be the new Wuhan. That'll be a next level. But I mean, look at it. They are pretty lethal. Who snatches a bat out of midair? That Ratatouille sequel, but it'd be dark as hell. Moving on. Okay, this next story has to have one of the most American endings maybe ever. So last week, something straight out of a freaking apocalypse movie happened. A truck carrying a bunch of research lab monkeys crashed, overturned, and allowed some monkeys to escape. You tell me what kind of synopsis is this, huh? Now, this happened in Mississippi, and while a number of the 21 monkeys sadly were killed, a number of them, about 8, escaped. I mean, but you're thinking, nothing really to worry about. Monkeys escaping. What are they really going to do? Well, then the sheriff's department then comes out and claims that the monkeys were actually infected with a bunch of diseases, including herpes. Herpes! This is some strange-ass synopsis. What are we going to be attacked by freaking herpes zombies in this movie? God damn! Now, obviously, this story went mega viral, and people started freaking out, especially since there were actually images of these research monkeys leaving the truck too. Oh, but guys, don't worry, because unlike how, this would normally go in a movie where, the monkey would bite a human, the human would then go rabid, and the whole thing's cooked in a couple days, well, guess what? This happened in Mississippi, America. And thanks to a patriotic mother who saw one of these monkeys in our garden, she pulled out a handgun and just started dumping rounds. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. This ended in the death of a monkey, but only in America. She said, "I did what any mother would do to protect her children." Ratata. And it wasn't just that abrupt ending to this whole saga, but also the actual university who the monkeys belong to. They later came out and confirmed that there was not actually any diseases that these monkeys were exposed to. So this poor one that got emptied clips at probably didn't even need to die, So, kind of sucks. It's a terrible ending. 2 monkeys are actually still on the run, so I guess to keep you guys updated on World War herpes. Moving on! And then, to round out the video, we have yet another plane crash, but this one in Louisville, Kentucky. The visuals are insane. Now, the reason it looks like a freaking bomb went off and not a plane crash is because this is actually a UPS cargo plane transporting around 144,000 liters of fuel. Yeah. Exactly. Now, as of recording, tragically, about 7 people have been confirmed dead, while another 11 people on the ground were injured. However, the Kentucky governor, he warned that death toll may rise. This is the aftermath of the crash, where the fires continued because of the fuel. It just continued burning for hours. But I think the big question that a lot of people are asking is, how did this happen, like all the other plane crashes? Well, authorities are still investigating, so nothing is confirmed, but reports state that something major went wrong shortly after takeoff, and it crashed almost immediately. Some are even claiming to have spotted one of the engines detach moments before the disaster, and also that the plane was partially in flames while it was still taking off. Hundreds of rescue personnel went to the scene, and flight operations in the area were halted for the night. But of course, if there are any major updates to this, I'll keep you guys updated. But I think that's a wrap. I hope you guys are having an amazing week so far, and I will see you for a full News Week Roundup on Friday. See you then. Woo! Woo!